Okay, I'm Clayton. I work for Defra and I'm responsible for the negotiation on the reform of the Common Fisheries Policy. Well, today's discussion is on regionalisation, which is a really important element of the CFP reform package, and I've been involved in talking to other member states and developing some of the technical detail on what we want to achieve in the UK on regionalisation. I think we work closely with stakeholders in everything that we do. I think the perception sometimes is that we're not very close to the fishery, and we're not very close to the detail of what it really means to go out fishing on the high seas, and that's understandable. Why would they think we know anything about fishing when I'm sitting in an office in London? So we need to overcome that, and it's probably about having some trust there and actually working on the detail together, rather than being bogged down in process, because quite often the EU negotiation process means that you're dealing only with council discussions and you're dealing with regulation, and we can probably get a bit beyond that to be a bit more innovative and a bit more positive about what we're trying to do for fisheries management, rather than just regulating all the time. I think we haven't always been in a great place in terms of collaboration between the fishing industry and other stakeholders and scientists and policymakers. And it's been one of the big failings of the current CFP, that the trust hasn't been there and there hasn't been that collaborative effort, particularly on a regional basis. And that has meant that the policy hasn't always had the credibility that it should have. And we want to develop plans from the bottom up and talk about management measures from the bottom up and make sure that everybody's bought into those measures. So what we want to see under the new CFP, it's not just about getting the legal structures right and getting new processes in place. It is those ways of working, and it is working together in practice in the future, bringing scientists and the industry together particularly. So I think the biggest challenge that we'll face with the reform process is translating all of the political will and the public impatience for reform, translating all that kind of enthusiasm into something that actually works. And we're talking about legal text, and this is the civil servant in me, that I'm bogged down in looking at wording of legal text, but we do need to translate the huge ambitions that we have. It is quite conceivable that we could manage fisheries on a sustainable basis, and we could eliminate discards, and we could do all those things. But just agreeing the measures and getting those through the EU institutions is going to be a big challenge, particularly this summer. I mean, I think there's been a huge groundswell of public support in over the last year or so, particularly with things like the TV fish fight programmes. The public are really engaged with fishing issues, and they want to see stocks managed sustainably, and they want to see us not throwing the fish away. So that helps us take the case to Brussels, no doubt about that.